Alright, guys, good to see you again. Thanks for coming back. Today, let's talk about a movie that I really didn't know much about. I kind of just popped up on my Netflix suggested. It's relatively new. It's not an American film, it's a Korean film that isn't English dubbed, which I was happy about because I do. Sometimes they do it well, but sometimes they don't, so that's why I do like to usually see a movie like this in its original format. The movie is called hashtag Alive or Pound Alive, however old you are, however you see that symbol. Basically, it's the hashtag symbol and the word alive. It's a recent movie. It's a horror. It's definitely not too scary. It is just in the horror genre. I don't really find it that scary. I do find it enjoyable, though, and that's why I gave it an opportunity. It's one of those things where Netflix's new thing is that, oh yeah, we're just going to play trailers if you hover on any of the titles for less than 0.25 milliseconds. It's just bam, here's a scene from the film, or bam, here's the trailer for the film. So that happened. We were looking at horror movies because me and my wife, we like to watch horror movies, and we try to see if we can catch something that could be a little bit of a gem, something that doesn't go into theaters, doesn't usually pop up on anybody's radar unless you know somebody who's seen it and they tell you, oh yeah, you gotta see this. So it is a good film. I'm not going to say that it's not a good film. It's definitely not for people who don't like to read subtitles unless you're okay with maybe poor English dubs. I dislike poor English dubs, and I'm okay with subtitles. It's not the best horror movie of, say, the year or, say, in the world, but it is a good concept. It definitely does the concept of what it is very well. So now, the movie originates from South Korea. It's a Korean film, and you can't really give them, too much heat. I know that there can be different things politically, involving, Korea and all that stuff, but they make great films. You know what I'm saying? The film Parasite, that just won a whole bunch of Oscars or Emmys, or whatever the award show was, that won a whole bunch of stuff. That's a Korean film. You know what I mean? Another good Korean film, Train to Busan. I haven't seen that yet. I've heard great things, and it's good enough that it's getting a sequel. That still kind of exists in that universe from what I've seen from the trailer. So maybe when that comes out, I'll give the two of them a back-to-back. What else has come from South Korea? Old Boy, I Saw the Devil, Lady Vengeance, Taxi Driver, or I should say A Taxi Driver, not to be confused with Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro. They have another one called A Taxi Driver. Not sure what that's about, but I did see that won a couple of awards not too long ago. They make good films. They come out with some really good stuff because they do kind of toe the line with, certain aspects of a story. And they definitely portray things in a way that hasn't been portrayed. So, with that being said, let's talk about this film, hashtag Alive. It's basically a zombie film. And what I like about it is just that the thing is you can always have a zombie film, and most people just get lazy with it. They're just like, yeah, let's just have an outbreak, have a bunch of zombies, have a bunch of people trying to survive. Yeah, let's just keep doing that story over and over again. Very few times has the concept of zombie or zombie outbreak been done differently to the extent where it really catches your eye as a moviegoer, or even as a zombie lover. If you're a big fan of the zombie genre and all of the films and television series that have come out around that, you see a couple of unique things here and there, but very rarely is it that they drift away from its primary thing. There's an outbreak, now everybody's a zombie, here's a story about the survivors. But this does take it a little bit of a step further, where it takes the concept of survivor and it puts it on, I guess you would say, like a very modern, Korean teenager who gets isolated in his house. That's the premise. The premise is that the zombie outbreak happens, he's in his house by himself. He's a streamer, so that's what he does. He streams. He's got a huge computer set up and whatnot. He's in the middle of a stream, and then somebody on the stream with him is like, oh, you guys watching the news or whatever? And then he sees, oh no, national disaster. Stay indoors. He hears commotion outside. He looks outside like, oh my God, people are getting eaten. Everything's going crazy. What is the news saying? News is saying, stay in your house, don't go outside. the last message he has from his parents is like, stay in the house. We're okay. You must survive. So he's in his apartment by himself. And a lot of the Korean projects there, a lot of apartments in a building that are strung together in kind of like a U shape. So he's just in this U shaped building complex with all of these zombies running the halls and all of these, or infected, I should say, and all these infected running around on the streets. And he has to stay isolated. So he barricades himself in. He tries to ration his food. And it's kind of like this scenario where they talk about how it's also cool to see that there's still like news. Like, it's not like the whole world ended. It's just that this area is being quarantined. There's a lot of stuff happening. You might not get, like, things might go down any second now. Cell phone tower goes down, so he can't get a cell phone. He's got to go all the way up to the roof to try to get a signal, and even that is dangerous, so maybe he does that, maybe he doesn't. It does play a lot on, like, what the main character is. I can't really name actors. I don't know them. I haven't seen them in anything else before, so I can't really touch base on that. But what I can touch base on is that it does really grasp the idea of what it would be like in that scenario. And I do like that because I don't think that's been done before. At least to my knowledge. I haven't seen a movie that kind of touches base on not just the idea of a singular person during an outbreak like that, and what it is that person would do, because not everybody has the skills to be a survivor. Yes, he's a gamer, so you kind of see him do a little bit of survival thing like that, like he picks up a golf club and starts hitting them in the head, and like that's his way of like kind of beating them off of him, when he gets in encounters with an infected person. And besides that, like, he's not, a hiker who's got an axe in his house. He's not the son of a cop who has a registered, shotgun in the closet, He's a normal dude, his father probably owned, like, a real estate agency, you know what I mean? He plays video games all day. He's got a sister in school, it's a normal person in a very abnormal scenario and what that person goes through. And I do like that I don't think I've ever seen a movie touch base on that, in the concept of isolation and the singular point of view. It's really just about him for a good portion of the film, and it's about what he goes through and how he starts running out of food and how he's got to try to scavenge and how he's scared and how he's trying to like cope with each day, and each day passes and he gets like more and more worn out and he thinks about killing himself because he's all by himself. And it is really telling to see that kind of story and then look at it like, what would I do in that scenario? And that's why you want to watch a film like this. You want to watch a film like this because you want to see not only what he did that scenario, not only do you want to see it because you've never seen it portrayed like this before, but you also want to see it because you're like, all right, if I was in that situation, what would I do? You know what I mean? Of course, it's unrealistic because, who knows whether or not the concept of zombies would ever be a real thing that we'd have to worry about. I don't care how close we came to it with bath salts. It's not a real thing. They ain't running in the streets. I don't got to walk around with a machete. Nobody's scared right now. But if you're thinking about being by yourself in this scenario and having that mindset where it's not real, it will never happen, I don't need to prepare, I'm a normal teenager, all I want to do is play video games and eat ramen noodles. Once it happens and you're hit with it, it's like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what is everybody going to do? What's the news telling me to do? And everybody's telling me to just basically stay here, and I'm here, and I'm isolated. I'm in an apartment building. They're all over the place. They're everywhere. He peeks out the window. They're all in his courtyard. He peeks out his front door. They're walking up and down the halls. And it's just, it's really nice to see this kind of a story behind the idea of an outbreak, an infected outbreak, a zombie outbreak, whatever you want to call it. It's nice to see this portrayal of the story. It is a very good film. To me, it's a very good film. I think it's got mixed ratings online. I know when I was looking it up on IMDb, it only gave it like 6 out of 10 or something like that. And, like I've said before, this isn't about movie reviews. This isn't about ratings. This is about my opinion. And in my opinion, this is a good film. You know what I mean? This is a good zombie film. This is a good other way of telling a zombie story, and I think it's worth watching. If you like zombie type movies, I would definitely say give this film a shot. If you don't mind reading subtitles, it's worth it. If you want to do the English dub, it's on Netflix. I'm sure they have an English dub version. I remember I was watching the new Donnie Yen movie, Ip Man 4, and they had an option, either watch it in its original format or you can watch it English dub. And the English dub to Ip Man 4 on Netflix is miserable. If you haven't seen it yet, do not watch it with the English dub. Give yourself the time to sit down and actually say, okay, I'm going to watch a movie that I have to also read at the same time. Wait for that, because the English dub for Hitman 4 on Netflix is garbage. It's straight. A lot of the times, and I know a lot of people would agree with me on that, there are different fans when it comes to like dubbing, like anime and stuff like that. There are people who hate dubs. There are people that like dubs. I don't mind a dub if it's done well. Ip Man's 4 dub is not done well. I don't know if this, if Hashtag Alive had an English dub or not. I saw it in its original format, reading the subtitles. I was fine with that, and I still thought it was a good movie. If you're looking for a pretty decent horror movie and you got Netflix, or maybe it's on something else that you can stream it on, give Hashtag Alive a shot, especially if you like zombie movies. I think you're going to like this one. All right? All right, thanks, guys.